Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again before our radio audience here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad that you all could be here. Also, is tuning in to our friends at iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcast. We're glad you all could join us as well. Well, this is part of our News You Can Use segment here at WYAD, and today we're talking about help for those with diabetes. According to the American Diabetes Association, more than 39 million Americans have diabetes, and of those, nearly 1.9 million Americans have type 1 diabetes. Now, for people that are living with type 1 diabetes, managing the disease requires daily glucose monitoring and administering life-saving insulin. I know this personally because my mother also has type 1 diabetes. But there's now new technology for people living with this condition, and it's something that we're going to be talking about today. It's called Omnipod 5. And here to talk to us more about it, we're excited to welcome Dr. Jennifer Sherr, who lives with type 1 diabetes, and she's joined today by Kara Hornbuckle, who not only lives with diabetes, but also is a mother of 2 children with type 1 diabetes as well. Thanks to the two of you for the time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
So this is an important topic. As I mentioned, my mother is also living with type 1 diabetes, so it is something that our radio audience knows a lot about. Dr. Sherr, I want to begin with you. What is the current situation for people faced with managing type 1 diabetes?
Thanks so much. We're excited to be here as Insulet paid spokespersons to share our personal experiences with you. So when we think about the current management for type 1 diabetes, just as you said, we often think about needing to test the glucose and constantly check where glucose levels are and then administer insulin to try and achieve our glucose targets. People with type 1 diabetes, the body is attacking the insulin-producing cells. It's an autoimmune condition, and so we really do have to be quite precise in the insulin that we deliver, whether it be with injections or an insulin pump.
And Kara, as I mentioned, you are living with diabetes yourself as well as the mother of 2 children with type 1 diabetes. What has your diabetes journey been like?
Sure. So I've lived with type 1 diabetes since the age of 6 years old. So I've seen a lot of transitions in the management of this disease throughout the time that I've had type 1 diabetes. And about 10 years ago, my son Lucas, who was 2 at the time, was also diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And this past December, our daughter Cameron, who is 8, was also diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
And Dr. Sherr, I'm sure as I mentioned in my intro, this is something that impacts so many, including, of course, children. And so that's why this new technology is exciting. I mentioned it's called Omnipod 5. Talk to us more, Dr. Sherr, about exactly what Omnipod 5 is.
Absolutely. So Omnipod 5 is a tubeless automated insulin delivery system. What that means is that a continuous glucose monitor is sending glucose data every 5 minutes to the pod. And the pod contains insulin, and it sits directly on the skin. And what happens is that the insulin is adjusted using a customizable glucose target. So really, we're handing the burden over from the person with diabetes to the technology and allowing for more physiologic insulin delivery that can be personalized due to these customizable targets.
Wow, that is amazing. And just hearing that, I'm sure for a lot of people, that's going to make life a lot easier, especially if they're going throughout their day-to-day activities. Dr. Sherr, how does this technology, though, help people manage type 1 diabetes daily, though?
Excellent. So when you think about diabetes, you have to make hundreds of decisions every single day. You have to be considering factors like your diet, whether you're going to exercise. Is there stress going on that could impact your glucose levels? And so people with diabetes are constantly doing math, trying to figure out how they need to adjust their insulin doses. So what this technology is doing is simplifying life by allowing the system to shoulder some of the burden and just adjust that insulin using that customizable target.
Kara, when you heard about Omnipod 5, I could imagine it had to be welcome news for you. But how did knowing about Omnipod 5 help you as well as, of course, your children in managing their type 1 diabetes?
Absolutely. So I'm on the system, and my children are also on the Omnipod 5 system, and it's had such an incredible difference in our life. So, as was mentioned, there's so many different things that impact blood glucose levels, which can be really challenging for one person, let alone 3 people in a family. And so what the system does is it allows us to spend more time enjoying life and less time thinking about all those various nuances that impact blood glucose levels.
And I think, again, for our audience here in Mississippi, as well as our audience joining us online, I mean, this is something that has to be good. So, Dr. Sherr, since we're sharing this news, when will Omnipod 5 be available for our listening audience, and where can they get it?
So Omnipod 5 is available now, and in order to get it, it does require a prescription from your clinician, so definitely speaking with your healthcare provider about it.
Yeah. And that's why this is so important that the two of you are here talking with us about it. So, Dr. Sherr, where can our audience go for more information?
Definitely. To learn more information about the system, people can visit omnipod.com for product and important safety information.
And we'll make sure that we link that up for our Facebook audience as well as tuning in online. Again, everyone, Dr. Jennifer Sherr as well as Kara Hornbuckle has been joining us today, talking with us not only about how you can be able to manage type 1 diabetes, but also how Omnipod 5 is making that easier for you. Thanks to the two of you for the time. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to having you back on the show again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, part of our News You Can Use segment here at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Now let's go make today amazing. Take care.